Welcome back, everybody, probably. I think that constitutes the end of the first chapter. So... Yeah, probably. Hi.
Two different videos?
Yeah.
Cool.
No matter how far virtual reality advances, it will never compare to the shock of the body's 5 senses. Suddenly, all 5 of the audience's senses were struck by an ear-splitting roar that rumbled down to the pit of their stomachs, as well as other sensations, like the smell of iron and oil mixed together.
Wait, what all the 5 senses again? There's touch, taste, sight, smell, ears, hearing. Yeah.
Ears.
I think that's it. Ears are a sense.
Yeah. The ability to sense ears. Just now, 5 shiny silver fighter planes have passed right over us, dancing through the sky above the International Battle Standard Festival of Peace at Gifu Stadium. Flying at their head was this year's host, Japan of the Arctic Ocean Union. On either side were fighters from the Europe-Middle East Alliance, the Central Ocean Union, the Africa Commonwealth Realm, and the Latin American Treaty Organization.
That's awesome.
Wait, so there's a narrator and there's a commentator? What?
No, we're the commentators.
This is the narrator, and then there's the commentator. What?
I'm just gonna mention that background with the clock and the vent it just looks like a face.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm gonna pretend this is the same person because
Okay.
I don't see the distinction between a narrator and a commentator. That was a joint flight of fighters from the 5 great factions, just magnificent. What a fitting ceremony for the Battle Standard Festival of Peace. We really need to come up with an easier name for that. These warriors of peace have honed their skills day and night to defend the peace on this planet, and the crowd can't get enough of them. Let there be eternal peace in this world, with violence. Thank you, warriors of peace, for supporting the walls of peace from both sides yet again today. The walls of peace will surely crumble from both sides. Surely crumble if not supported from both sides. James F. Kennedy. This is what... I assume this is the same guy from the beginning. Maybe. Probably. Because there was an instructor at the beginning. The guy who looked like a puppet. This is what we call the Dubnik's Barrel, or sometimes the Kennedy's Powder Keg. After saying this, the instructor wrote Kennedy's Powder Keg on the electric blackboard behind him, and an illustration that resembled a keg appeared. Both the letters and illustration were drawn very poorly, and all the students giggled. The instructor was teaching while walking amongst the students' seats, his hand clasped behind him. Though the blackboard was far away from him, he was directly drawing and writing on it. He was using a brainwave input device, also called a mental tablet. Once, we needed hands to manipulate writing tools, keyboards, and equipment needed to leave records. However, humanity in this world had gained the ability to write not only with letters, but even draw pictures using their hands. What? Without using their hands. However, no matter the device, only the young can use it to the full capacity when it's brand new. So the aged instructor wasn't used to it, leading to these rough letters and drawings that didn't suit his high upbringing and education at all. As you can see, the keg is a cylindrical container made of several boards bound together. Since my drawing is so pathetic, I ask that all of you who lack an imagination do an image search. If you can have a tablet in your brain, then of course you can have a display in there too. Some of the more serious students did a serious search of the word keg, which was displayed as an image inside their brains. It's called imagining. Those less serious were using their mental displays to watch TV, play games, or else chat with their friends in virtual rooms because they are very lonely and have to make up imaginary friends.
Everyone here just has hallucinations.
Hey, I mean, if we're continuing from Higurashi.
No, yeah.
Nearby people had no way of telling that someone was looking at their mental looking at what nobody. Okay. Nearby people had no way of telling what someone was looking at in their mental display. Also, if you wanted to chat with your friends, there was no need to move your mouth. You could use mental transmissions to talk without speaking. And so, both the serious and non-serious students gave birth to an ideal environment for themselves. Kennedy's powder keg. What? Go on.
Honestly, if that were ever a thing in reality, I'd just be on YouTube all day.
Yeah. Kennedy's
watching cat videos.
Kennedy's powder keg represents the gunpowder of conflict, sealed in a container where military efforts of each individual company form the boards. Then a red line was drawn on the picture of a keg on the blackboard, and one of the boards was removed, leaving a gap. However, what if just one board was short and left a gap? Naturally, everything inside the keg would pour out. Kennedy's powder keg tells us that if even a single country fails in its military efforts for the sake of peace, the gunpowder of conflict will pour out from there and explode.
Everything is a violent analogy.
Yes. Wait. Give me a sec. Okay. Once military power had been necessary to protect the safety of one's nation. In every nation, in every era, young people who take on the responsibility of protecting their country have been praised for their patriotism and service to the state. They're like white blood cells in the human body, and no one ever finds anything odd about praising them. However, after massive losses caused by 2 world wars and the Cold War brought about by nuclear weapons, and particularly after the advancement of data storage techniques that allowed the inhumanities of war to be seen far and wide over and over again, some of humanity had developed what might be called a war allergy. Then, when the Great Depression at the end of the 21st century kicked off into a fierce economic downturn, people in countries around the world started talking seriously about reducing military spending. Except America. Taking advantage of that, pacifists began a global campaign. Look at me, I can completely vanish this mic.
What?
Look at the mic in the image. It's just gone from.
Oh, it's just part of a mic.
Yes. Also, I found a way to turn you way up compared to other stuff. So, that's neat.
That is pretty neat.
You can turn yourself down a little bit. So
I did. I just moved the mic really close to my face.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more?
Yes, I can say words. I do say words. That's really the only thing I can do at some points. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Words.
There you go, words.
Yes.
Words. Okay. Taking advantage of that, pacifists began a major global campaign. That movement received an international tailwind, gaining heavy support from people across the world, made poor by a social security system that had been crushed by the Depression. Certain politicians played to the masses and rode this tailwind, building up bases of support all over the planet. They spoke pleasant-sounding words about world peace and love for all humanity, leading the charge for unilateral disarmament in certain countries and earning wide acclaim. All over the world, videos were shared of soldiers returning their medals and leaving the army, claiming that being a soldier was a shameful way to serve one's country. The first few who started this boom were praised by the press, and many clamored to have them nominated for a Bernhard Peace Prize. The whole world praised this as a beautiful story, one that would encourage all who suffered under the Great Depression. Every day, the news told stories of countless soldiers leaving armies as an act of self-criticism against the military, to the applause of the people. Yeah, that was... It's Slenderman.
He's tall, lanky boy.
Yeah. And it delighted in showing stories of tanks and fighter jets being scrapped, giving the numbers for how much that had saved in construction and maintenance costs, and comparing that to how many babies could be fed with the same funds.
I'm just okay. So wait, whenever that point was when Japan was like demilitarized, do you think this sort of thing would count like as military?
What, giving children god gauntlets?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's military, it's just a different form. It was a global disarmament boom.
I guess they're allowed to militarize again.
Well, I mean, they have a military now. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, fair enough. I kind of forgot because time exists.
Yeah.
I forgot time exists.
Yeah. If all neighboring countries reduced their militaries at the same time, this would have been a wonderful thing. However, as the prisoner's dilemma suggests, strategies that basically assume that your partner will act with benevolence are less than ideal in affairs between nations. This resulted in an extremely tilted military balance across several national borders around the world. At the time, national leaders who disarmed unilaterally were lauded as pioneers of world peace and given several international awards. However, in the current A3W era, their reputation had done a 180. They were condemned for abandoning their support of the walls of peace that had separated countries, and accused of the sin of negligence in their duties towards world peace.
Humans being be like humans be human beings.
Time is a circle. Provide a deterrent to arms races and security dilemma. Oh, this is the guy. Provide a deterrent to arms races and security dilemmas while enshrouding the gunpowder of war by maintaining suitable military balance between all countries. This is the philosophy of the IPMA, the International Peace Mediation Association, and it is how a healthy military balance preserves world peace. World War III had several causes, but some likened it to a human body where a nutrient imbalance had triggered a great illness.
Wouldn't be surprised if World War III happened.
That led to the concept of world peace preserved by healthy military balance. For example, my game's lagging. For example, Japan once polished rice because it tasted better that way, which led to vitamin deficiency and a disease called beriberi. They had removed the bad-tasting bran, but they didn't realize that it contained vital nutrients.
Interesting.
That bran was like the military might. True military might does have a violent and inhumane side to it. Any humanitarian would claim that it tasted bad. However, when they polished it off and threw it away, it resulted in fatal nutrient deficiency for certain nations. When military might only exists on some sides and not on others, it's easy to enter an irreversible situation. It was like trying to climb a mountain without a safety line. You'll be fine as long as nothing happens, but if something unexpected occurs, there won't be anything left to support you. One of World War III's other causes, populism, led to increasing friction between neighboring countries and placed a lot of pressure on border regions. Are you enjoying these politics?
It's not like I totally don't understand a single word that just came out of your mouth and off of the screen.
Yeah, not like that.
Totally.
That wouldn't have been a problem if those borders, those walls of peace, had been supported on both sides. However, when one side refused to support these walls, they fell over easily, inviting a situation that couldn't be undone. Military might is an element that tastes bitter to humanity. We have chosen to view it as a mineral, a micronutrient necessary for the body to function. Everyone knows that if you pile up zinc and iron and manganese on a table and eat it, it'll be harmful to your health. Oh, really? That explains a lot.
I didn't know that.
That explains a lot about me.
All that iron.
Yeah. It sucks when you just become blue. You just
amazing.
Turn into a Smurf.
Smurfs are just have too much iron or something.
Yeah. However, these are essential nutrients that you can't afford to be deprived of, and you need to continue ingesting them in suitable quantities. In the same way, a nation's military might needs to be maintained to a suitable degree to bring about healthy relationships between countries, or so they say. As a
Or
result,
so say.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the narration isn't like trying to push an ideology on you, I think is the point.
Yeah, fair enough.
As a result, military might was viewed in a different light in the A3W era as a micronutrient for nations. It is the tendency to think of soldiers as murderers and enemies of peace was done away with. After all, soldiers of your country were fundamentally war buddies, even to soldiers in neighboring countries, as they all work together to support the walls of peace. The social... my voice is dying. I might have to go up and get some tea.
Tea.
Yeah.
Is good.
Yeah. You mind, like, waiting, like, 30 seconds and I can pause the video?
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna consume some of my cookie anyways.
Okay. Where were we? The social rank of soldiers rose, and the world became one in which children didn't hesitate to say they wanted to become soldiers when they grew up. Soldiers no longer existed for the purpose of defeating their opponents. They were redefined as servants of international peace, who protected not only their own country, but also their country's neighbors. They support... Oh, I'm dying.
That's relatable.
They supported the walls between countries, preparing for unexpected situations in nearby nations that even those nations wouldn't have wouldn't have wanted, preventing them from developing into something irreversible. I just almost like burped, puked, and yawned at like one time. Like those things were all trying to happen. Disgusting.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Even the closest spouses and friends fight sometimes. Soldiers who supported the walls of peace were like cushions wedged in between the middle of fights like that, preventing a fatal situation from developing so that everyone could laugh it off and forgive each other in the end.
Meanwhile, I laugh everything off.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's not Tomitake. Whose turn was it again? I think it's mine.
I don't remember who did the last picture.
I'm trying to think of a voice I can give him that isn't exactly the same as Jaden. I guess we'll figure it out as we go.
Deep announcer voice?
Nah. Humans really are crazy, huh?
What is that name?
Sesset, I think. Sesset. I don't know. I assume there are going to be a lot of different foreign names in this because it's like world politics.
Yeah, I'm nodding, by the way. You can't see it, but I'm nodding.
Okay.
Anyways. Think so?
Two people who looked very different from those students watched this lecture through their mental displays. They seemed to be amusing themselves with it rather than attending it.
Of course. I mean, whatever organisms gather together, it's to increase their chances at survival, right? In other words, they gain enough military might to protect themselves against outward foes. Isn't rejecting something like that basically sacrilege against the miracle of life on this planet?
In other words, they gain enough to protect themselves against outward foes. Okay.
I read that without thinking.
Yeah. And I listened without thinking. Basically okay. No. I wasn't trying to criticize people for praising strong militaries.
Oh, you weren't? Then what are you trying to say?
I don't care if you criticize or praise militaries. As you said, Grandmaster, I guess. Military power is the natural right you have as a life form to increase the odds of your survival. And it's also a natural obligation you have for the sake of protecting your descendants who can't protect themselves. But at the same time, it's also a double-edged sword that can hurt both you and your neighbors. So whether you criticize it or worship it, you should always continue debating and searching for a better way to exist.
Double stabby time.
What?
It's double stabbing time, you know. Anyways, so the most important thing is having people debate all the time. Isn't debating just a means you use to reach an end? That was the most fake laugh I've ever done.
I like how they're like not even on the rails. They're just like floating. And the thing is, with this story, I don't even know if that's intentional or not.
It might very well might be, I cannot speak.
Okay, read the line.
Yeah, I doubt you can guide the common man if your means becomes your ends.
True, debates can easily lead to wasting time. It's not a great idea to gradually work out a solution when you've got an urgent and pressing issue to deal with. I'm just trying to explain how unpleasant these extreme changes are, and how it's just as unpleasant when nothing changes at all. Right up until World War III, military might was viewed as evil. Their culture was such that every politician, philosopher, musician, and artist went on about love and peace and how they needed to throw away their weapons because militaries were the shame of humanity. It was a world where even whispering about the need for military power on social media would be enough to get someone accused of blasphemy against the peace and socially murdered.
Is that even true at all? Because I do tend to live under a rock, so I don't even actually know. It just sounds funny.
Socially murdered. That sounds like something a conservative would say. However, even though humanity disliked military might, that didn't mean they'd abandon their dislike for other races. That's great. As a result, the door to World War III was opened not by militaries maintained by nations, but by selfish military actions, quote-unquote, but by individuals with self-righteous ideals. And now that's totally flipped around, and everyone's saying, "Long live the military, thank you troops, I'm gonna grow up to be a great soldier who protects his country and world peace."
Yeah, that is pretty extreme. Hilarious, in fact.
And now, if you imply that militaries are immoral in any way, the whole world will call it blasphemy against peace and ostracize you. At first, it seems to be the exact opposite of what they did before, but they're basically doing the same thing. Differing opinions are aggressively silenced, and no one has the guts to actually discuss the issue.
The mind of the masses is like a single bit of data. Don't know if I should pronounce it data or data.
I mean, neither are valid.
Yeah, I keep trying to pronounce both at the same time, and I end up saying data.
That should be the word. How would that be spelled? It'd be like DEAEUHGHT.
Exactly.
You mean it can only ever be 0 or 1?
Yeah, that's it. Are you on the far right side or the far left?
Well, I mean, based on the screen, I'm on the far right and you're on the far left.
They can't see anything besides that. That's true, we can't see anything besides that. And because...
Well, I mean, there's text in the center.
True. And because that's all their mind can hold, they aren't capable of debate, and they aren't receptive to or clever enough to accept a position that's different from theirs. It's just that just sounds like someone's projecting their thoughts.
I just tried to make this guy's expression. How do you do that?
With a very weird face.
Like try that. That's such a weird expression. If you want to strengthen the one-bit person, then there's no choice but to train them, right?
I'll bet the training will be pretty harsh for those one bits.
Okay, that's a good face, though. By training the one bits, they must have meant the act of lettering different opinions letting differing opinions collide in debates.
Yes, lettering.
Lettering them. However, well, you gotta organize them somehow. However, no matter which time period you look at, history doesn't record many people capable of tolerating differing opinions in the name of diversity.
Yeah, you just order them alphabetically.
Yep. Whether it's religions, ideologies, or how you like your eggs cooked, the world is full of people incapable of accepting diversity. I, for one, don't like eggs cooked at all.
That's another diversity.
And I'm not gonna accept differing opinions. After all, even people who claim to be for diversity are unable to accept the existence of people who dispute that belief. Well, that's called the paradox of tolerance, but okay. It's not at all an easy thing to do.
Wait, what?
Paradox of tolerance. Meaning that you can't tolerate the intolerant, or the intolerant will use your tolerance to get rid of tolerance.
Oh, right. I forgot that existed.
T-sip. People crowd together with those who share their own views, exterminating of all opposing views. That's what debate means to humanity now, as it approaches the 10 billion person mark once again.
No, debate according to humanity is Twitter arguments.
Okay.
It's been like this since before the time of Rome.
I just realized her thighs are like non-existent.
Or maybe there's just something in front of them.
No, I mean, like, look how thin they are. How does her
gap anymore?
How do her pants like not just fall right off?
Maybe her hand is keeping it up.
That beautiful hand.
Of course. Sometimes kings urge their subjects. I'm about to start speaking French. Kings urge their subjects to take part in debate.
You should speak the entirety of all of your lines translated into French.
I don't even know how to say words.
I mean, you can't even speak English.
Exactly. Could I manage a French accent? Probably not. I can't even keep a consistent French accent. However, the one bit's never managed to count to anything but 0 or 1.
Still, in my opinion, if you keep thinking and debating, you aren't even human anymore.
You really are a warrior, aren't you? Not a warrior, a warrior.
A warrior?
Very well, I shall grant you the title of 8-bit.
Thank you. You honor me, Grandmaster.
The people can't do anything but advance in the direction that's been decided for them. Showing people where to go is what the king does. If you're waiting for the common man to gain enough intelligence to take part in debate, I'm afraid the sun will probably burn out first, right? What position is that from?
What position? What do you mean?
I don't know. I just feel like that's an opinion from like any position. I know what I'm saying, but I can't express it in a way that actually makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just saying that most debate between people is kind of pointless because most people are just driven by their emotions and their upbringing anyway, and really all you can kind of do is just have a few charismatic figures who are able to present their arguments in an emotionally compelling way enough that people will follow them.
I guess. Also, is that guy who's just wearing belt on this shirt?
Yeah, that's just a... Wait, is that one belt or 2 belts?
I can't tell. Looks like 2.
I mean, I guess it would have to be because it has 2 of the buckles. He also has a random zipper, which I appreciate as a connoisseur of zippers myself.
Zip.
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 Oh, I didn't read that. Nope,
Oh,
shut up.
well.
Shut up. Okay.
The few people who watch probably read it.
Even so, I want to have faith in people. Can you read this for me, please? I'm about to, like, die.
What if people didn't get kicked around by by the consensus going forward when they say forward, stopping when they say stop, and going left and right when they tell you to? Dot question mark.
Thank you. What if everyone could have their own opinions, debate them together, and accept each other?
Whoa.
Impossible. And what if then you looked around and saw that everyone accepted everyone else, and that everyone was moving in the same direction? I hope a miracle like that will occur someday. Okay, I guess it's from his perspective. It might not happen until the day before the sun burns out and the globe is covered with ice, but I believe we'll make it in time.
No, I'm doing
Oh, I love those pixels.
amazing. Miss what?
Mizoguchi.
Mizoguchi.
Gucci.
Lost.
So are those horns that she has? Or ears?
I can't tell if they're horns or cat ears.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
Come on, isn't judo supposed to be Japan's specialty?
Last year, a power harassment scandal threw the association into chaos. Guess this means I win. Several numbers appeared in their virtual space, and numbers on Seshat's side decreased and were added to Tojiro's side.
Were they betting?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Also, note that Tomitake from Higurashi, his given name is Jiro. This is Tojiro.
Oh.
I'm sure there's no connection. He doesn't even look remotely similar.
It's just a coinky dink.
Yeah. This time they were watching a broadcast of the International Battle Standard Festival of Peace. We gotta come up with a better name for that. It was a celebration of peace where countless young people display the techniques they had honed on. See, this is what I was talking about. They just omit words that you would usually have. If you were doing narration, like they talk like the narration is just like if you were talking to a friend and they kind of omit words sometimes, but you know what they mean. But it's kind of hard to read.
It's kind of like you're just telling a friend a story instead of narrating.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of this author's style, I guess. So I guess it fits, but I don't know.
Friendship is magic.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. He said first, like friends, talking to friends.
Oh, okay.
And that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Sure. I'm put the work they put in for the sake of this day. However, to the middle-aged people casually gazing at it, it was merely something to compliment a drink or to bet on. Oh, I guess that was probably the first episode? Oh, the first... okay, I'm gonna count those as separate episodes.
Yeah, I can't tell what's going on.
Chapter. Because that was the chapter end. I don't know if all of that was one chapter or if that was the second chapter, because the OP takes the place of that. Yeah. I'm gonna count them as separate videos though, because the first one is so long.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It has weird signals to when things start and stop.
Yeah. Bye.